urgent. Indian social media is currently flooded with angry drivers reporting the exact same mechanical failures. Fuel caps are rusting shut from the inside out, engines are stalling in traffic, and mileage numbers are plummeting. Many assume they've neglected their maintenance or bought a lemon, but the actual root cause is sitting at the local petrol pump. The government has quietly overhauled the nation's standard fuel supply, mandating a new blend that many older engines were never built to handle. This new mandatory standard is called E20. It's a mixture of 80% regular petrol and 20% ethanol. Countries like Brazil have used high ethanol blends for decades, but they provide clear options at the pump, so drivers can choose what goes into their specific engine. In India, those pure petrol options have largely disappeared. E20 is what you get. This lack of choice becomes a serious mechanical liability depending on what you drive. If you own a car manufactured before 2009, your fuel lines are at risk. And for the massive population relying on two-wheelers, the risk window is much tighter. Any bike built prior to April 2023 lacks full material compliance for this new fuel. Millions of daily commuter vehicles are sitting on the road right now, drinking a chemical blend they aren't designed to process. To understand exactly how ethanol destroys an older engine, we have to look at its chemical properties. Ethanol is highly hygroscopic. This means it actively absorbs moisture directly from the ambient air trapped inside your fuel tank. Because water is heavier than the fuel mixture, those absorbed water molecules eventually sink and pool at the bottom. As this water sits against the bare metal walls of older tanks, rust forms rapidly. But the damage doesn't stop at rust. Ethanol is also a highly effective solvent. Over the years, petrol leaves behind a layer of hardened, dark deposits inside your fuel system. The ethanol in E20 strips that old gunk right off the walls, pushing a slurry of dissolved debris down the line and clogging up your filters and sensors. This aggressive solvent property also attacks the soft materials in older vehicles. The standard rubber hoses and plastic seals used before the E20 mandate slowly dissolve and turn brittle under constant exposure to high-concentration alcohol. The worst thing you can do to a legacy vehicle right now is leave it parked. When a car sits idle, the ethanol has uninterrupted time to absorb atmospheric water and chew through your rubber lines. This side-by-side chart shows exactly why your mileage is dropping. It compares energy density. Pure petrol delivers roughly 42 units of energy per kilogram. Ethanol only provides about 26. When you dilute an 80% tank of petrol with a 20% shot of ethanol, the total energy density of the mixture shrinks. To deliver the same exact driving power to your wheels, your engine piston has to pump harder and burn more liquid. The physics dictate a guaranteed efficiency drop of 1 to 7%. If your vehicle isn't fully E20 compatible, you have 3 options to protect it. First, keep the fuel cycling. Driving your car regularly ensures the ethanol is burned off before it has the time to pull a dangerous amount of water out of the air. Second, if you plan to leave your two-wheeler or car parked for weeks at a time, you cannot leave the tank full. You need to run it down so it is almost completely empty, or pay a professional to drain the fuel system entirely. Third, and most permanently, take the vehicle to a mechanic. Have them completely strip out the factory rubber hoses, standard gaskets, and plastic seals, and replace them with modern ethanol-resistant synthetic materials. Passive car ownership is no longer viable for older models. Beating the chemistry of E20 requires active preventative maintenance. So why would the government force a transition that requires millions of citizens to overhaul their personal vehicles? The answer lies in India's massive energy deficit. We currently import roughly 85% of our oil. When global crude prices fluctuate, the national budget takes a massive hit. Blending a fuel supply internally shields the economy from those external shocks. By replacing 1/5 of our imported petrol with domestically produced ethanol, the country has already saved an estimated 1.5 lakh crores in foreign exchange since 2014. It also acts as a massive agricultural subsidy. Ethanol is fermented from sugar, which comes from crops like sugarcane, rice, and maize. Shifting our fuel demand toward these crops has resulted in an estimated 40,000 crore direct injection into rural farming communities. There is an environmental catch. While ethanol produces less pollution from the tailpipe, growing the specific crops required to manufacture it consumes massive amounts of local groundwater, straining already depleted agricultural water tables. Ultimately, the E20 policy prioritizes the macroeconomy over the individual. Drivers are absorbing a mechanical friction cost at the pump to subsidize national foreign exchange savings and rural development. The public backlash isn't entirely about the chemistry. Confusing communication from authorities regarding compatibility, paired with swirling rumors of corporate conflicts of interest in the agro-processing sector, have eroded trust. The mandate feels imposed rather than explained. But debating the exact formulation of liquid fuel misses a much larger mechanical truth. Internal combustion engines are highly inefficient machines. A standard petrol car only converts about 20% of its stored energy into actual forward motion. The rest is lost to heat and friction. A modern electric vehicle converts an impressive 80% of its battery energy directly into motion. They are 4 times more efficient at using the energy we put into them. E20 is not the final destination for Indian transportation. It is a necessary, albeit messy, temporary bridge. It allows the government to secure energy independence right now, buying time while the nationwide infrastructure for electric vehicles is built. Electric vehicles will eventually dominate the roads. Until they do, learning the preventative maintenance required to handle ethanol is the only way to ensure your current engine survives the journey there.